Today, we talked to one of the leaders of Alibaba here in the US, and he's going to talk about some cool new AI features you probably didn't know they had, as well as a way on how you can even be an Alibaba supplier here. How cool is that? Pretty cool, I think. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Serious Sellers Podcast by Helium 10. I am your host, Bradley Sutton, and this is the show that's a completely BS-free, unscripted, and unrehearsed, organic conversation about serious strategies for serious sellers of any level in the e-commerce world. We've got somebody who works for a company that has helped serious sellers for quite some time. We've got Justin from Alibaba here. How's it going?
Doing good. How are you, Bradley?
I'm doing just delightful. Now, since it's your first time on the show, always try and get a little bit of a backstory. Where were you born and raised?
Born in China and raised up in China.
Whereabouts?
North part of China, close to Beijing, Hebei province. Shout out to any of my friends.
My daughter in a couple of weeks is moving to the complete opposite, and going to Hainan. She's going to be moving to. Yeah, she speaks Chinese, and she wants to kind of immerse herself a little bit more. Awesome. So moving over there with a friend. Did you go to university there in China?
Yeah, I did. I did go to university in China, but I got my MBA from Georgetown University, Washington, D.C.
Oh, Hoyas. That Georgetown, okay.
Yeah, that's the same Georgetown. Go Hoyas. Nice. So shout out to any Hoyas that's listening to this podcast.
The basketball team has been quite bad the last 20 years or 10 years or so, but maybe they'll have a resurgence here coming up.
Who knows? Yeah, it's got its highlight peak at some point in time.
And then when you graduated from there, what did you start doing?
I started working for Amazon between 2015 and 2020.
What did you do there?
I took multiple roles, the retail leadership development program. I don't know how familiar, the listeners are to that program. Basically, they bring people in, mostly MBA graduates, and they put you on like third-party business manager, retail vendor management, manager of vendor managers. It's just a retail program that put you on different functions with the goal that, and at the end of the day, they're cultivating people or talents, candidates for category leaders. That's basically, what I went through while I worked there for roughly about 6 years. I was the senior category merchant manager. I managed this third-party business for sports and outdoors category for a while. And then I was I managed the retail business, the vendor management business for tools category, hand tools, power tools. So, we were dealing with top vendors, in that world, how fun that is. Okay. Before I left, I was, a category head for home improvement. So, yeah.
So that's good. Like you come from a background where you dealt a lot with sellers and understand now who you're servicing in a different way. So speaking of that, how long have you been at Alibaba, and what is your position now?
I've been with Alibaba all in all roughly about 2 years now, and currently my role, I'm the country general manager for Alibaba.com in North America. So I oversee the Alibaba.com business for US and Canada mostly, mostly US. So my team is responsible for continues to work with them and developing new features and programs to help them to source more conveniently. Also, my team is responsible for working with US-based, North America-based suppliers, wholesalers, help them to, open up storefronts, list their products, brands, white label, or, emerging brands, whatever that is. We help them to, list their products and selection on our platform so, they can have access to retailers and distributors who are interested in sourcing their products. Yeah.
Let me actually just talk about that for a second, because I think that's different than what people think about Alibaba. Yeah. Of course, Alibaba is known for sourcing, the leader in the world in sourcing. But then they're like, wait a minute, I might be a manufacturer of my products here in North America, or I might have my own kind of like line of products. And you mean I could be a supplier, on Alibaba? Can you talk about that program a little bit? Because I would venture to say that probably 95%, if not more, of our audience might not even know that's a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to talk about it and provide a little bit more background and our how we think about it and why this became one of the most important strategy for Alibaba.com in the North American area. I'll share with you some high level numbers. Roughly about 60% of the buyers on Alibaba.com are online / offline retailers and resellers.
Okay.
And these are people that are looking for people to buy and then resell, be it white label or, light customization. Obviously, Alibaba.com is known for, customizable products, creating your own brands. But more, a lot of these people are also looking for, just some sourcing opportunities where there is enough of a margin that they buy low and they then resell high and pocket some profit out of it. Especially when the creating your own brand world is getting more and more competitive and capital heavy or intense, if that makes sense. If you want to start your brand or your product line on Amazon, more often than not, you have to be ready for some serious investment operation, and that's why platforms like Helium 10 is extremely valuable to the wannabes or people that want to experience that or grow their business on Amazon. It is not an easy or sort of like a blue ocean market anymore. By no means it is, right? When I joined Amazon back in 2015, you can still just go and create our own brand and really focus your own product addressing some sort of unmet concerns or needs in the market and still make a pretty good money out of it. Mm-hmm. But not today, right? You have to be somewhat like a professional seller, right? You got to know what you're doing. You got to continuously optimize your supply chain, marketing, ACOS and everything. It's a holistic. It's a business, right? It's not a hobby anymore. So we do have a lot of retailers and buyers that are interested in buying and reselling, and might not ready to create their own brand per se. That kind of heavy investment. They're just looking for a product they can buy in bulk at a discount and resell at maybe 20-30% margin and make a profit out of it. That's the largest profile or persona of the buyers that we have on Alibaba.com today. And that means there is a huge demand, a hunger for products that you can resell, buy with a price advantage and then resell. So, on the other hand, on the flip side of the coin, for sellers on Alibaba.com, right? Historically, yes, there are a lot of manufacturers, factories that are doing OEM, light customization, but we're seeing an increasingly amount of people that are just offering ready-to-ship selection. It's already made, it's white label, or maybe got its own factory name printed on it. People don't really care about it, if they're just reselling on Shopify, eBay, Amazon, some random e-commerce in their own storefronts. Obviously, there is a process. You got to pick, what you like. You got to pick the best Bluetooth headphone out of 100 or 200 Bluetooth headphones on Alibaba.com. You got to be the one that picked the right product for your audience or for your buyers. But it doesn't mean as a buyer on Alibaba.com, you have to customize it. You have to invest and buy 5,000 units to start your business. You can just buy 20 units. If the price is right, there is a profit. So for sellers, especially wholesalers that I'm talking about, right, in the U.S. that are based in the U.S. have inventory sitting in their U.S. warehouse and looking for serious business buyers that are not just buying 1 unit, 2 unit, that are trying to buy in bulk, 50 units, maybe $400 or $500 order value. We have a lot of those buyers. And historically speaking, for wholesalers that are trying to distribute to a community or a group of more serious business buyers, they got to rely on their own network. They got to rely on sales team, or they have to go to some kind of trade shows. And if they go to a trade show, you know how expensive that could end up being, right? So if you open up a store on Alibaba.com, list your brand, list your products properly, clean it up, present your store. It's like your own store. It's a virtual store, but it's like your own wholesale store. And we will send, a serious business buyer to your store. There will be foot traffic. There will be, negotiation, communication, because it's B2B. So people might ask you questions. How about, what kind of discount do I get if I buy over 500 units? That's normal, right? That's what you do when you have a sales team and do business offline. We have all of those that facilitates, our wholesalers to run a business just like how they're doing offline, except it's much economical. It's much affordable for them, to acquire serious buyers through Alibaba.com versus the more conventional like trade show or sales team way. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think this can go two different ways. Like on one hand, like first of all, do I think, hey, start an Amazon business by sourcing this way from domestic base? Probably not, because the price is just going to be a lot higher for domestic, and the odds that nobody like it's very low competition is very low. However, TikTok Shop is a place where people are starting businesses now, where it's kind of like wide open compared to Amazon. And I think it's very likely, like something starts trending on TikTok Shop, you don't want to wait to have to source it from China or from Pakistan or something like that. You might be able to find something to hit a trend from a local supplier, and is the margin going to be as much as would be if you sourced it from Alibaba in China or something? Like, probably not, but price is not the issue. It's time. You can get something based in California like in 3 days and put it on TikTok Shop right away, where it would take like maybe 2 months to get from China. So that's one interesting angle for this. But then the flip side also, if I am interested in being like a supplier or wholesaler, I guess, as you can say, or distributor, however you want to call it, and list on Alibaba, how do I do that? Like where do I go to open that relationship with Alibaba?
Yeah, so it's super easy to become a supplier/seller on Alibaba.com. You go to Alibaba.com website, and on the top right hand corner, there's a button that says "Become a Supplier." You click on that. You leave your email information, cell phone, register a Alibaba.com account. Our accounts are set up in a way that allows you to sell and buy at the same time within one account. So once you register an account, it enables you to buy immediately. But in order to sell, you have to sort of like upgrade it. And for those that are familiar with Alibaba.com, we do charge a $1,999 annual membership fee. All you need to do is just, in your account, click, I want to sell, and then pay that fee with your credit card. Or if you want to learn more about it, we have sales team that will reach out to you, provide you a demo and tutorials and stuff, and explaining how to run a business. You can do it after sort of, you make your decision. The nice part of it is, we not only do we have sales team, we also have account managers based in the US. Once you register, what normally will happen is, we will either create like a WhatsApp group or an email thread where you have access to 2 account managers, one from the US, one from the sales channel that onboarded you. So you have someone that's answering your questions, 24/7. And then you also have someone from Alibaba, worked for Alibaba, employed by Alibaba to do account health checks, diagnosis, and it helps you understand what you should do, list more products, run some advertisement, or whatever that is to drive your business. Yeah.
Cool. All right. So there's something new that maybe some of our community out there didn't know about. So thank you for that.
Thinking about selling on TikTok Shop? Or maybe you are already in it and you're ready to scale. Unlock all of Helium 10's brand new TikTok Shop tools with our Diamond plan. Everything from bulk Amazon to TikTok listing conversions to instant Amazon MCF fulfillment. Best of all, you use the code TT10 to get 10% off Diamond for 6 months, even if you've used a coupon before. So go ahead and upgrade and let Helium 10 do all the heavy lifting for you, so you can focus on what really matters. For more info on our new TikTok Shop offerings, visit h10.me/TikTok. I'll see you there.
Another topic I think that's hot here this year, and that's the T word of tariffs. And so people are, when they think about like, wait a minute, now I should probably never consider Alibaba a factory from China or something, because the tariffs are just out of control. But there's actually ways that Alibaba can, if you're sourcing with Alibaba, you can actually help reduce some of this tariff impact. So how is that possible?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want this to sound like, we have the silver bullet, we have the
Sure.
magic recipe that takes care of tariff, and I don't have an answer like that. Alibaba.com is here to help, obviously, not because oh, we have this cool feature, we have this new program, because it doesn't work that way, right? A tariff is a tariff. Someone is swallowing that cost. But the most valuable thing on Alibaba.com today is, again, our sellers, our 3P sellers. Just like how the 3P sellers are creating value, delivering better experiences to Amazon or Walmart buyers, Alibaba.com suppliers from different parts of the world are creating value to our buyers, which is, the sourcers, the brand owners. We have a total of 200,000 suppliers that are actively selling on Alibaba.com today. And remember that every single one of them probably paid somewhere around $2,000 a year. So they're taking this seriously. It is not some sort of like a zombie account that someone created and never check it. These are active business owners who paid money to open up a store and present their selection to buyers worldwide. And these 200,000 suppliers, I know a lot of people think, oh, the majority of them are from China. Yes, the majority of them are from China, because China is the factory of the world. In most of the categories that are top selling on Amazon or TikTok today, there is probably a lot of factories that are capable of manufacturing at low cost and great quality from China. But we also have suppliers from all over the world, from Southeast Asia, Vietnam, Thailand. We have hundreds of sales team and business development team based in those countries that are knocking doors of different factories and trying to bring those selection to Alibaba.com. And we have sellers from Europe. We have sellers from Italy, France. We have sellers from US, and that's what my team is doing. We have sellers from Mexico. We have sellers from Middle East, everywhere. We have hundreds of people based in Europe that are, working with different trade organizations, trying to bring the best of the best suppliers and manufacturers in different regions that really represents the quality, right, and the reputation of oftentimes of that country, right, to Alibaba.com. So our buyers have access to them. And that's the most valuable thing that Alibaba.com provides to our buyers, to mitigate the risk of, tariff, the trade frictions, whatever that is. You have the largest pool and community of high quality suppliers that are creative, that are just like you, entrepreneurs. They want to grow their business. They're flexible. They'll figure out ways to make this business continue to run and not be impacted by tariff. That's the most important value that we could offer to buyers today.
Yeah. So, that's, things are hopefully going to get more stable when it comes to that. But things just in general, regardless of tariffs or anything else that's out there, I think something that especially newer sellers are concerned about, within it can even be experienced sellers, is a lot of times we are dealing with, suppliers, companies, trading companies, whatever, factories that maybe we have never met in person.
Yeah.
They're from a country that we are not in, like if I buy from an American company here, there's like certain things, like laws and stuff where I can, like it doesn't save me from getting ripped off, but I know it's a little bit less likely due to the laws that exist in this country. But then now all of a sudden we're talking about, hey, I'm going overseas to China or somewhere else to negotiate a deal and perhaps send thousands of dollars before I see a product. So that's something, in my opinion, like always Alibaba has helped with, like with the trade assurance, program and things like that. But what are some things like the trade assurance? You can talk about that. Like, some people might not know about that can help, set sellers' minds a little bit at ease, where it's not just you're blindly sending thousands of dollars and you're never going to see, never going to see it again.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right on the point. And, sellers at different stages, right? Their appetite for risk management or handling risks are a lot different. Someone who just opened up their TikTok store and trying to catch the trend versus someone who's been selling on Amazon for 5 years, we're talking about totally two different mindsets. And what I was just talking about is really, I think it applies more to the professional sellers that are more experienced, that knows what they're doing, are more sophisticated and forward looking and thinking and planning about their supply chain optimization, diversification. But yet there is a huge community of people that just starting their voyage, right? They're just starting their e-commerce journey. Alibaba.com is here to help. Again, we have launched our US local stock to our buyers. We started, really heavily investing in working with US-based sellers, especially those that have inventory sitting in a US warehouse in LA or Atlanta or Jersey, somewhere that's close by to our buyer community. We started working with them a couple of months ago, and we're so lucky that we have accumulated a pretty active community of suppliers and sellers based in the US with hundreds of thousands of products that are available to US buyers that will be shipped out in 48 business hours and arrive at your factory or your warehouse within 7 business days. Right now in total we have roughly about 300,000 products, and our goal by the end of this year is to grow that number to 2 million. And it will be, like I was saying, these are products that are, again, selling in bulk mostly. So there is MOQ. Average order value, we're talking about $300-400. It's obvious it's going to be higher than Temu, higher than TikTok Shop, but it's still pretty manageable for someone just starting, right? So what this allows our buyers to do is really, to act quickly and pivot. Just give an example. You see something that become sort of catch the trend on TikTok Shop, or on TikTok platform in general, and you want to try it out and sell it by yourself. You should come to Alibaba.com and check out our selection with a tag that says local stock. It says local stock on the product, right on the bottom of the product image. That means it will be shipped out in 48 business hours and it will arrive in 7 business days. Buy it, list it on TikTok Shop and sell it for maybe 1 or 2 weeks and see how that goes. It won't be the end of the day if it doesn't sell. I mean, you probably lose $200-300. You can start and try out some new SKU, some new products, right? Because selling on TikTok is just about testing and constantly testing and see which ones will fly, right? So the speed of you're able to pivot is critical to running a successful business on TikTok Shop. And once you find that product, right, and you're starting to get the strong momentum of sales, you might be thinking, hey, how do I lower the cost by 10% and 15%? Should I start talking with the manufacturer directly and get rid of the middleman?
Cool. Now, something I know absolutely nothing about. A lot of the stuff you've talked about, I have an inkling of knowledge about, about local suppliers. And I mean, the wholesale thing was a little bit new to me, that concept. I have heard rumblings of things like that. But somebody mentioned that like you guys have this like AI based tool that actually helps with either sourcing and or even like product discovery. And I don't think it's on your regular website because I don't see anything, or I mean, at least I don't see like something in the search bar that's different. So what exactly is this and how can it help sellers?
Yeah. So we launched the world's first AI supported sourcing platform. It's called Axial, ACCIO. You can look it up. It's a separate website, but stay tuned. We are integrating some of the Axial capability to our Alibaba.com main website. And if, check it out if you haven't used it before. It is very powerful due to a couple of different reasons. Okay. So for anybody that have dealt with, working with a supplier from a foreign country with a 15-hour time difference and a bunch of factories, you barely can tell the difference of these manufacturers. Who's better? Who's worse? Like, who's the one I want? Right? And there's always a price range. What about the material? What about the quality? What about the weight, the dimensions, everything? Because creating your own brand and identifying the trusted supplier is the key. I think it's one of the probably the most important supporting pillars to a successful brand. But still, it is a lot of work because it's manual work. Without AI, you are the one that sitting in front of your laptop, going through this pile of information and trying to get some clue out of it. But with AI, with large language model, with machine learning, is a lot easier because AI will read through all those data. We have data that we're putting on the detail page. We also have data in our database that we're not putting there because people don't normally read it or don't normally care about it. We're not expecting our audience or our users to click on a factory and read through 10 pages, right? The history of the factory, trying to figure out, oh, now I learned something about this factory. It doesn't work like that. But with AI, it will compile all those information and make the reasonable and the logical choice for you. Maybe not make the choice for you, but at least compile the information and digest the information and present it to you in a way that you can easily process. So that's
then accio.com does all that, and then but basically it's reading like everything that you would normally see on Alibaba, but then you've got like the Gen AI kind of interface where you can like talk back and forth and instead of just typing in a search term like you would on Alibaba.com, like I was just looking, there's a product I was looking to source on Alibaba actually a couple of nights ago for one of the public brands that we have here at Helium 10. It's like a chicken poop scooper. And so I literally typed that into Alibaba, or actually first I did it in the Helium 10 Chrome extension on Amazon when I found the opportunity. I used the Alibaba supplier finder that's in our Chrome extension, but then I went to Alibaba. But then now, I typed in, hey, I'm looking for a chicken poop scooper that, has a 10-inch base and is made of plastic and stuff like I wouldn't have searched or I wouldn't have used that kind of language or search, in the search bar, because I knew it would probably give me gibberish, like it's too much to overload a search bar in Alibaba. But sure enough, I put it into this accio.com and it started spewing out results. And then, it looks like I can just click into it and then, it'll take me to the Alibaba listing. So how long has this been around?
About a couple of months now, months. It's got millions of users. People, starting to get the momentum, getting the trend. We're constantly, sort of the platform is constantly evolving very quickly, a lot faster than the Alibaba.com website itself, because Alibaba.com has been there for a long time. So we do want to sort of maintain how it works in general, not changing too quickly. But with Axio, it does offer us the capability of adapting very quickly, in response to the feedback from our users. So you're right about it. It is conversational. It is just like using ChatGPT or any kind of like AI conversation kind of interface. You can ask questions. You don't need to. Normally in a search and browse situation, there are filters, there are keywords you have to hit on in order to find the right thing. But you can just describe it to Axio. It will understand. And you can tell him, hey, find me all of those products that are under, $100 with MOQ lower than 5. That's just what I want. So it will process all the information and present you, a smaller group, but meets what you're looking for a little better. So it is conversational. It is easier. And another thing that's about Axio is, yes, Axio relies on the digitalized selection and supplier data and information from Alibaba.com. it also includes a B2B wholesale selection from other websites and platforms. So you can pretty much think of it as a just a search engine for B2B selection, not just limited to Alibaba.com. Yes, Alibaba has a lot of stuff, but there are other platforms that are focused on different verticals, right? And Xskill have a pretty wide coverage in that regard, and it is actually capable of compiling selection from Alibaba and from someone that's outside of Alibaba and be able to do the comparison and everything for you. Yeah.
I even did a search with an image,
Yeah.
and it was able to read the image and pull it up. So, guys, if you want a new way of sourcing, and finding products and ideas, use go to accio.com, and it's pretty fun. I'm gonna have to. I can already tell I'm gonna just be stuck on this for like 2 hours, just having fun, searching for new
Yeah,
product ideas.
there's a lot of cool features that we're building, we're testing out, and see what really entertains your users. You can ask Axio to generate a e-commerce report for you.
All right, last question of the day is, we talked about some existing features, like trade assurance that Alibaba's had for a long time. We've talked about some other newer things that maybe some people might not be aware of. A lot of Helium 10 listeners out there today, one of the things we've mentioned, or maybe something else we haven't mentioned, the number one Alibaba.com feature that you think most of our listeners maybe have not tried, something that's been underutilized that you would suggest people go out and try?
Well, that's a hard question. We have a lot of new features, but if you ask me to pick the best one, not the best one, but the one that people should really try it out, I would say Axial.
Okay.
I would
That's
say
what I was about to say. If there's something cooler than this, then man, that would be really cool. We should have talked about it more, but this is what I would have picked.
Yeah, it would be Axial because it's just so different. Try it out and compare it with how you normally source, on Alibaba.com or some other platforms. It's totally different. And like I was saying, it is explorative. It is also inspirational. So, it's a good place to kill some time and look for some ideas. We from a Alibaba.com's own sort of feature perspective, like I was saying, we will integrate Axial to our website very soon. So do stay tuned. It will be a Axial. I think we're going to call it, something different, but right next to our search bar, where you type and search stuff today, it will say Axial search. So you can search with two different ways: type out keywords or conversational.
Awesome. All right. Well, before we go, I'm actually, like I said, I'm taking my daughter to Hainan in a few weeks, and I'm on my way there. I'm going to spend a night in Hangzhou, and so I want to visit the Alibaba headquarters for the first time. And so I've been talking to some people over there, trying to arrange that. Any local eateries around the Alibaba headquarters was like, hey, this is amazing restaurant, or you got to go to this one place. If I'm only going to be there one day, where should I go in Hangzhou near Alibaba headquarters?
Man, this is the hardest question today. I have to say, Hangzhou. Okay, do you know much about Hangzhou and Hainan?
Nothing. Like my first time being. I mean, I've been to China numerous times. We have offices in Wuxi, Shanghai, Shenzhen, but I've never been to Hangzhou.
Yeah. So in China, we sort of a lot of Chinese people joke about Hangzhou. Hangzhou is, from my perspective, Hangzhou is like the Seattle of China.
Interesting.
Yeah, because Seattle has Amazon, Hangzhou has Alibaba. It's two cities that are originally, they're all nice cities, but they're getting a lot of attention and everything because of the e-commerce, the tech, right, development, bringing people from other parts of the country it attracts talents, right?
Sure.
That's what Hangzhou has been doing, and Alibaba has been doing in Hangzhou per se. And Hangzhou really, as a city in China, is known for its culture and history. Okay. So if you go to Hangzhou, you're gonna check out the West Lake, right? There are a lot of history about that city. People That's what Hangzhou is known for. Not necessarily for its great food. I'm not a Hangzhouer, so Hangzhou people, don't be offended. We joke about it. We say Hangzhou is a desert for delicious food. There's just no delicious food, but obviously that's a joke.
Yeah.
Hangzhou is known for its history and culture and like cultural relics. So there are a lot of stuff for you to experience. Now, this is probably one of the best time to go to Hangzhou. It could get a little bit hot and humid, but it's still nice. If you go later, there are a couple of months. Hangzhou rains a lot. That's another thing why I said it's like Seattle in China. But it's a
That
nice.
was the first thing I think of when I think of Seattle. Yeah.
So you should definitely spare some time and go to the West Lake. Check out the Leifeng Tower. There are a lot of cultural relics that definitely worth a visit.
All right. Well, thank you very much for the advice, and let's see what's new next year. Have you back on the podcast, maybe 2026. See what's new with Alibaba, and thank you for sharing all these updates with our audience.
Happy to. Thank you, Bradley, for the invitation, and appreciate it. All right, and have a wonderful trip to China.
Thank you.